Sometimes the true heartbreak doesn't come from betrayal. It comes from realizing how far you've drifted from the person you used to be. My name is Julia. I'm 34, and I left my marriage after 8 years, but not because I didn't love my husband, and not even because he had someone else. I left because I realized I wasn't me anymore. We met when I was 23. I was fresh out of university. I was full of ideas, full of passion. I wanted to travel, write, live slowly, deeply. He was older, confident, stable. I liked that. It made me feel safe. And he liked me because, in his words, you light up every room you enter. At first, he encouraged my dreams. He said, one day you'll write a book and I'll say, that's my wife. I believed him. I believed in us. We moved in together, then married 2 years later. And with time, things changed. Not all at once, but little by little. He got a promotion, then a bigger job. More hours, more pressure. I started working from home. I told myself it was temporary, just until things settled. But they never did. I cooked, cleaned, folded clothes, kept everything in order. I wanted to make life easier for him. I told myself that was love. And somewhere in those quiet years, I stopped writing. Not because he told me to, but because every time I picked up a pen, he would sigh and say, must be nice to have time for hobbies. So I stopped and told myself, maybe it's not the right time, maybe later. But later kept getting pushed back. Year after year, when we went to dinner with his friends, he would introduce me with a proud smile. This is Julia, my wife. She used to be a writer, used to be, as if that part of me had expired. I smiled politely and said nothing, but inside, a quiet sadness grew. I gave so much to be the woman he needed. I became soft where I used to be bold. I became quiet where I used to be loud. I became small so he could shine. And maybe that's when I started disappearing. We never had big fights. He wasn't cruel. He just wasn't present. Dinner was silence. Weekends were screens. My birthday was flowers delivered, not handed. One day, I found a message on his phone from a woman named Lee. The words weren't explicit, but they didn't need to be. I stared at the screen for a long time, not crying, not even angry, just empty, because the truth was, I didn't feel betrayed. I felt confirmed that the space between us had grown so large, of course someone else could fit in it. That night, I didn't confront him. I went to the balcony and asked myself, if I leave, what do I have? And the answer was heartbreaking. I don't know, because in trying to be the good wife, I had forgotten how to be Julia. Days passed. I didn't say anything. I watched him get dressed for work. I watched him scroll at dinner. I watched him kiss me good night without looking. And I wondered, does he even know I know? Then one afternoon, I went to the bookstore just to breathe. I walked by the poetry section, a place I hadn't touched in years. I picked up a book, opened a random page. The first line I read was, "She remembered who she was, and the world changed." I closed the book, sat on the floor, and cried for the first time in a very long time. That night, I told him. I knew about Lee, about the late meetings, about the lies. He went pale, said, "It was just texting. It didn't mean anything." I looked at him and said softly, "Neither do I not to you. Not anymore." We didn't scream. There were no slammed doors, just a quiet end to a love that had slowly bled out. Over the years, I moved into a small apartment. It had white walls and creaky floors, but it had sunlight and silence I chose. The first morning alone, I made coffee, sat by the window, and wrote a single sentence. "I'm still here." That was the beginning. I wrote more, started therapy, got a job at a local publishing house, adopted a cat, started wearing red lipstick again because I wanted to. I laughed. I cried. I danced barefoot at midnight. And one day, I looked in the mirror and whispered, "Welcome back. I don't hate him. I don't hate Lee.